Recorded.
Hey everyone, I have Jason Raven with us. He's our 7 News Capitol reporter covering the State House, State Senate, and pretty much politics across the spectrum. There's so much going on, Jason. It's a big day in South Carolina. We've got the primary underway, and it's one, of course, that we all locally, as we vote for our county council members and various other things that are going on, and state representatives, we pay attention to that local stuff, but also the nation is paying attention to some of the congressional races in our state. So to talk it all over, we thought we'd pull Jason in before he gets busy with all of his live shots for the news all afternoon and evening. And Jason, talk a little bit about what you're kind of looking for and what we know based upon things like turnout about what's of interest to South Carolinians.
Yeah, Amy, thank you so much for having me and letting me chat with you guys today. Definitely a unique and different kind of election here in South Carolina. This is the first time we've had an early voting period officially. No excuse early voting in South Carolina. That was established by the state legislature about a month ago. So election officials kind of put this together pretty quickly, but they say it's been a success. It wrapped up this last Friday. And according to the numbers and what they've seen, they say over 100,000 South Carolinians went in and voted early at these early voting locations. So they said the turnout for that was great. They weren't sure what to expect, but they're happy to see people took advantage of it. And even Friday, the very last day, there were over 20,000 people that went ahead and cast their ballots early. So every single day throughout this process, these 2 weeks, they saw more and more people show up. But some of the places that kind of saw more people go cast their ballots earlier compared to other places are some of those counties in where those kind of hotly contested primary races are for these congressional seats you mentioned, SC07 and SC01, right along the coast there. A lot of people coming out in Horry County, Charleston, Beaufort. So a lot of people casting their ballots for these hot ticket, hotly contested races.
And those races are interesting, right, because President Trump has kind of inserted himself in a way, certainly in one of them with the Arrington race and him endorsing Arrington. And then you've got just the will people voting against the president during the impeachment process haunt them in this election with Tom Rice in the other district, right?
Yeah, it's interesting that SC07 race between Congressman Tom Rice and other people running for that spot as well. But the candidate who got support from former President Trump is a state house rep. His name is Russell Fry. And he's been really using this to connect with voters and, be sure to try to take down Congressman Rice. So we're paying close attention to that race over there. We're expecting kind of those two to be the front runners when it all is said and done on that side of things. And it could potentially get into runoff territory, but it's still way too early to kind of know and see how things kind of stand. But there's a lot of attention specifically on that race.
And then with Nancy Mace and Arrington, that is an interesting race too, in the sense that Mace has kind of distanced herself from the former president while Arrington has cuddled up.
Yeah, it's been interesting. I think that especially with the January 6th committee and all that kind of going on right now too, this January 6th event is just kind of in the front of people's minds. And if you guys kind of remember, Mace came out, following, everything that happened at the Capitol and really kind of spoke out against, the violence and everything. And, so I think from there, that relationship with the former president kind of went downhill. And now, obviously, he is trying to make sure she's replaced by endorsing Arrington. So this is also maybe one of those kind of closer races. We could see a runoff, and that would be very interesting since there is another candidate on the Republican side. But there is a Democrat running for that seat as well, Dr. Annie Andrews. She's unopposed, so she'll be on the ballot in November. So I think that's also really important to stress that, whoever wins, whether today or in a runoff, will face off most likely against another candidate. for a seat in November.
And when it comes to the governor's race, it's the Democratic side. If you know, in South Carolina, if you aren't aware, in primary voting, you have to ask for a ballot, either a Republican or Democratic ballot. And if you're voting Republican, you're not going to see this. But if you are interested in having a say in the Democrat field of choices, there's some interesting choices out there, and one of them could be historic.
It really could. So State Senator Mia McLeod could be the first African-American woman, running or have a chance to become governor in South Carolina. This race has been pretty quiet for the most part. It wasn't until recently where things kind of picked up when certain candidates were getting endorsements and things like that. So she's facing off against 4 other candidates. That includes former Congressman Joe Cunningham and Carlson Boyd. He's a healthcare advocate. He was at the debate last Friday night that SCE-TV hosted along with the Post and Courier. And then the 2 other candidates are Calvin McMillan and William Williams, also known as Cowboy Williams. We're kind of hearing, and what we're kind of seeing from everybody is that it's obviously these 2 front runners in this race, State Senator Mia McLeod and former Congressman Joe Cunningham. So there's a lot of name recognition there between the 2, and they've definitely outraised the other 3 candidates on the Democratic side. So they are kind of looking like one of them could take home a victory later tonight, but that's still left to be seen.
And it's impossible to dial into all the local races around the state, but are there any, state house races or anything else that you're hearing about, any buzz down in Columbia that people are like, wow, I wonder what's going to happen with that seat?
Yeah, well, maybe not necessarily just for a House seat or anything like that, but the race for state superintendent is the most crowded field we have in the primaries. There are a total of 10 candidates who are vying for to become the next state superintendent, because State Superintendent Molly Spearman announced last year that she was not running for re-election. So there are a good bit of Republicans and a good bit of Democrats running. And, when all is said and done later tonight, maybe there's a runoff in one of those, but we'll have 2 candidates who are set to face off in November. So that one, it's interesting. I feel like a lot of people, especially with everything that happened with the pandemic, parents are a lot more interested in their child's education and kind of who's leading that. So it's going to be interesting to see kind of how all this shapes out.
Absolutely. Well, Jason, it's going to be a busy evening. I look forward to watching you on television tonight. I know our viewers will have that opportunity as well. You can stream us. You can watch us on TV. And I'm going to be doing some live streaming from home behind the scenes of what's going on. So I wish everybody the best of luck with the coverage, and thank you, sir, for taking the time.
Yeah, thank you. And if you haven't voted yet, everybody, go vote.
That's
polls
right.
close at.
And if you are in line at 7 p.m., you will get your chance to vote. Thanks, Jason.
Yep, thank you.